Welcome back. You're still watching our Open Exchange. Clicks released their interim results this morning, and the company chief executive David Kneale joins us from our studios in Cape Town to take a closer look at those results. And of course, Michael Traherne stays with me. David, thanks for your time. Just looking at some of your top numbers, your group turnover is up 14%, return on equity 53.6%. But in your commentary, you talk about the constrained consumer, and the CPI numbers we received yesterday. Looking at inflation ticking up, and of course looking at the South Africa's economic growth. So given all of that, how has this impacted your business and how you're positioning yourself going forward?
Look, the consumer is certainly under pressure. Fuel prices are ticking up again. As you say, that's having an impact on inflation. Taxes are going up. The consumer is feeling uncertain about the future. And of course, load shedding, or the prospect of load shedding, isn't helping them feel any more confident either. So in those circumstances, they're looking for value. And that's what our retail brands are determined to give them. And I think that when you look at our results and you see double-digit sales growth in our retail business, then I think that we're delivering successfully on that.
David, just with regards to load shedding and the impact of that, and there was talk at the beginning of the year, lower fuel prices, more money for the consumer, lower transport costs for you guys. I think White Person for ShopRite was saying that those two, the fuel price savings that they got were almost nullified by the fact that they had to run generators and costs on that side. What has the impact of load shedding been on the business for the last quarter?
Well, in the 6 months, we've lost about 1% of our trading hours to load shedding. And indeed, last week, we lost 4% of our hours to load shedding. Now, even if you've got generators, if people exit the shopping centres, you will lose trade. And typically, that's what happens to us. So I think you can almost take a direct correlation between hours lost and percentage of sales lost, in all honesty.
David, let's take a look at the different segments of your business. We do know that your health and beauty does very well, but your pharmaceutical distribution business has continued to gain momentum. But you've also warned that the lower margin generic business is also a threat to that particular business. Just talk to us about how important this particular segment is and what you are doing in order to mitigate that risk that you foresee.
Well, look, UPD, our pharmaceutical distribution business, accounts for about 17% of profit. So it's the smaller of the divisions in the business. But it's an important division because it's the supply chain that supplies Clicks pharmacies with all their drug requirements, and Clicks pharmacies gain efficiencies from that. What you've got going on in South Africa is a steady increase in generic medicines. And that's right, that's appropriate, that's helping bring down the cost of medicines and therefore make medicines more accessible, more affordable to more people, make healthcare more affordable. So we've got to configure the business to adapt to that. So that means two things. It means growing scale, and you see that reflected in a 20% increase in turnover. And it means taking efficiencies in the business. So for example, we've automated our major distribution centre in Johannesburg.
David, just with regards to growth, is the strategy going forward to continue growing the Clicks stores and then having your pharmacies through there, and then you can add more pharmacy stores to Clicks stores that don't have? My understanding is that your pharmacy brand is the main growth driver going forward. Is that correct?
Well, look, we've got 473 stores at the moment. 346 of them have pharmacies. We've publicly said that our long-term goal is 600 stores in South Africa, all with pharmacies in them. And yes, pharmacy is an integral part of the brand. It's not the only part of the brand, though. If you take our beauty business, we grew our cosmetics business by 15% in the last period, and our fragrance business by 20%. So in total, Clicks is a full-line health and beauty retailer.
David, in your last set of results, you mentioned how your turnover could also be attributed to a well-planned promotional program. Just give us an update on that. Is this something that you're very much still pursuing? The loyalty cards is what I'm familiar with whenever I go to Clicks. So just tell us, give us a bit more colour around this particular growth strategy.
Well, I'm delighted by the hint that you've got a Clicks Club card. And if you have, then you'll also be delighted to know that we've loaded cashback directly onto your cards now, making it more convenient for you to use, no more paper vouchers. But in terms of your main question, then yes, it's back to the point that value is terrifically important for consumers. So promotions account for 29% of our total sales. And we're driving those very hard with innovative promotions as well to engage and excite our customers, like the 3 for 2 on mix and match offer we did on over 500 Christmas gift lines just before Christmas that consumers responded to terrifically well.
David, thank you so much for giving us a breakdown of your numbers and, of course, the strategy of Clicks going forward. That's David Kneale, CEO of Clicks, joining us from our Cape Town studios.